I have tried so many countless reading programs, and some of them I've made videos here on YouTube, but I have found that Alphaphonics is the best because teaching your child how to read could feel a little bit daunting, overwhelming, stressful, but it doesn't have to be. I'm going to show you in this video how to use resources that come with RC or RC Online in the bonus section, and just a very simple way to teach your child how to read. And I have a free PDF guide for you, so make sure you stick around until the end of this video. Hi there, my name is Karen. Welcome to our house, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you'd like to go from questions to confidence when it comes to homeschooling in general and the Robinson curriculum in particular, I'm here to answer questions. And today we're going to answer that question: how do you teach someone to read, and what to do if you hit a roadblock? So first, let me introduce to you the cast of characters that I will be using and where you can find them. So this is handy to have, book list, the RC book list. We have the RC Phonics flashcards. These are great. You can buy them pre-made like this. They have the pronunciations in the back. They're coated, very durable. I recommend them, but you can print them out from the CDs or from RC Online. You can print them out, maybe laminate them yourself, whatever you'd like to do. Besides that, we also have here some of the books from the RC book list. I have here the primer, the first reader, and the second reader, the McGuffies. You can print this out yourself, or again, if you'd just like to purchase it. I bought this set a long time ago. I found it really cheap in a used bookstore, so I love that. Now, RC also has in their online bonus section Alphaphonics. It has the instructional manual, which is like this, and then the actual workbook. I have printed it off in the past, and with 6 kids, it kind of gets a beating, so I just went ahead and purchased it online. It's very affordable. If you don't have RC Online to purchase it, super affordable. Now, I do also recommend the readers that go with Alphaphonics. I believe you can find these for free online. If it is out there, I'll post a link in the description below. But again, you can purchase these off of Amazon, really affordable, really cheap. And just, paper and pencil. That's really all you need. So how does this all work? Let me show you. There is a lot of information in the instructional manual part on teaching the alphabet, teaching the sounds, practical suggestions, cursive versus manuscript, and why he recommends teaching cursive first. Yes, manuscript when you're writing the letters, but cursive when you're writing words, because especially if you have a child that's prone to mixing up their B's and their D's, it's very different, a cursive B and a cursive D. So that can really help out. So I recommend you read the instruction manual in the back, very thoroughly, and then you get started with the lessons. Now, always keep this in mind. Don't scold, don't be impatient. It's all about going at their timeline. What some students do in a month, others can do, and it takes them a year. So, the goal here is slow and steady wins the race. Now, as far as getting through all the lessons, there's 128 lessons, but I would not tell you that this will take 128 days to get through. A lesson a day, maybe some kids out there can do it, but keep in mind that sometimes you're going to just have to repeat a lesson for multiple days until they get it, and that's okay. Don't rush, don't scold, don't be impatient. Figure out where the log jam is and try to help them. Don't just keep moving forward for the sake of moving forward if they haven't really understood the blending or the concept. It's just going to be a pain later on. So if it takes them a week to do a lesson, that's fine. Keep working on it until they master it, and then you move on to the next lesson. Now, the readers come in, it tells you once they have completed lesson 14, then they can read this reader. And so the way I like to use this is just to initial each, so you can use this with multiple children. I just have them initial once they've mastered that lesson before moving on. It kind of gives them that little sense of accomplishment. They've got it, now they're moving on. Same thing with the readers. Once they've read that story, they write their initials on the top. This is just really helpful for me to keep track where everybody's at without lots of record keeping or filling things out. I just pick up the book look and see where everybody's at. So that's really easy when you're teaching multiple children. So again, just go through the lessons. Sometimes they'll fly through lessons. Always make sure you assign the dictation, the copy work at the end of the lesson, but just keep going. If you get to a part where they're having a hard time, stop, slow down, keep doing the same lesson. If they need a break from it, have a break, but come back to the same lesson until they master it, and then you move on. Now, where do the RC Phonics flashcards come in? Well, again, you can create your own phonics program around them if you're feeling ambitious. And I do actually have a resource, the Our House RC Phonics flashcard guide, where I take a Ruth Beechick approach and using these flashcards, adapting her system to teach a child how to read. So I'll leave that in the description if you'd like to check that out. But the way I use it with Alpha Phonics is just as a review. For example, there's a lesson devoted to CK, so you can pull out this card along with some other cards that they've already went over some phonics rules, and you can kind of mix them up and just review before or after the lesson. Wherever you see them getting a little hung up, that's when you can bring out these flashcards and just do a review. So again, as you just go through the lessons, you can practice a little bit more with the Alpha Phonics readers that come with it. And of course, the notebook and pencil just comes in at the end of each phonics lesson that you assign that dictation and they write it down. And once you get to a point where they're doing short and long vowel sounds, then you can start the primer. If we look on the RC reading list, you will see that book 1 is the McGuffey's primer, and then book 2 is the first reader, and then book 3 is a nursery rhyme book, nursery rhymes, and then book 4 is the Life of George Washington, and book 5 is the McGuffey's second reader. So now this is kind of the Our House approach, what we do. After they've completed probably about half the lessons, maybe even a little less, they can start reading to you the primer. So what we do is we go through a lesson of Alpha Phonics, read the little reader book, and then they read me one lesson from either the primer or the first reader or even the second reader, wherever they're at. This is perfect because they're broken down into little lessons. Now, this is not how RC, is meant to be. It's meant to be once they're strong readers, they just read these all on their own. So this is just a little adaptation that I make to make sure that they have good fluency and good reading comprehension. Because when you get to the second reader, there's questions at the end of each little lesson. Again, it's broken down perfect for this. Just a little lesson and then maybe some words to review or some questions to ask. So that's why I do it this way, just to make sure that they are reading correctly. I can address any issues before they start reading independently on their own. And again, just kind of gauging their comprehension. Now, I'm doing the primer, the first reader, and the second reader. So you might be wondering, well, what about the nursery rhymes book? That is a book that I will kind of just let them read on their own during the RC reading time when everybody else is reading for 2 hours. They can sit down and kind of just keep going through that nursery rhyme book on their own. They feel like they're a part of it. They're doing some on their own. But it's just the nursery rhyme book. Now, the Life of George Washington, that's book number 4. I personally moved that down to after book number 12, the Christopher Columbus book. In my opinion, I feel like those two are more on the same level. So then removing those to the second reader would be next. So probably around the point where they're almost finished or have finished Alpha Phonics, I would have them read the second reader to me before they start on their own with the next book, which is The Tale of Jolly Robin. So after they read this book to me, and I feel really great about their fluency and their comprehension, they're all on their own at that point when it comes to the book list. That's it. And they start off with The Tale of Jolly Robin on their own. And that's pretty much it, how I teach a child to read and get them started with the RC book list. Now, I have a course that I have created all about this, the RC course for littles, where I take you step by step, not day by day, but step by step through their own natural progression, how to get from learning ABCs to the RC book list, counting to Saxon 5-4, and writing their letters to daily writing assignments. So that course Right now, if you sign up, you will be a founding member. And when the course goes away at the end of the year and it comes back next year, updated and double the price, you will get it for free. You will get all future updates for free if you sign up now and purchase it now, becoming a founding member. What age do I recommend even just starting something like this? I know there are some very motivated parents out there who want their 3-year-old, 4-year-old to start reading. I personally am of the opinion, to wait. Later is better. And I'm not talking about 8 years old or anything like that, but 5. I would start at 5. That's the age I start. You might be different, and that's fine. Now, that's not to say you can't do anything beforehand, teaching the alphabet, you reading aloud to them. Those things all really help and play a big part in teaching them how to read, and kind of preparing the soil, as you will. And with that analogy, I think about, is it easier to dig a hole in winter or in summer? You could be beating your head trying to teach them how to read when they're just not ready, make it miserable for everybody. That's like trying to dig a hole during winter when the ground is frozen through ice, versus if you just wait for summertime or springtime when everything is thawed out and it's really easy to dig that hole. So in the end result is the same. They've learned how to read, but how do you want to get there? Do you want to get there through lots of pain and suffering and just making a miserable impression on your children when it comes to reading, or waiting until the time is right, when they're ready, when they have those muscles ready and they can pick it up? My opinion is that if you start at age 5 with teaching them how to read alphaphonics and introducing the math flashcards, that surely by age 7, that's 2 years, they'll be ready to start Saxon 5-4 on their own, because they need to be strong readers and they need to have all their math facts memorized, and they can start the RC book list. For some kids, it might be 8 years old. But starting out at 5, you have plenty of time. Remember, 5-4 is a 5th grade textbook. So even if they're just working on reading and just working on memorizing math facts, even if they start 5-4 at age 8, they're still way ahead of the game, considering their public school counterparts, and we're not trying to compare ourselves to them, but it's really just at the speed of the child. So that's my little disclaimer as far as when to start. I would think on average you can get through this program in 1 year, but again, even if you take 2 years, that's fine. I think that's perfectly fine. It works well with memorizing math facts to then really kind of get started at age 7. I don't think a child really mentally is capable to start Saxon 5-4 any earlier than 7. I know the exceptions are out there, but typically I think it's 7 and 8. So again, if you start at 5, you have plenty of time to get through this. Now, if you found this video helpful, I have created a free PDF guide for you that kind of, gives you the checklist of what you need, what you're doing, and I also included a list of my top 10 favorite read alouds for you to kind of read aloud during this stage to get them excited about the RC books. Because, just being honest, a lot of the modern books that you find now at the library and graphic novels, things that are very popular today, it's going to be a bit of a transition to then go from these older classic books with very different vocabulary. So that's why I have a list of top 10 of my favorite books that I feel really prepare them for the quality of books on the RC book list. Books like Hitty, Her First 100 Years, a doll that goes through her first 100 years. The vocabulary in that book is very similar to what they're going to be reading with RC. Another example is the Beatrix Potter stories, or just some of my personal favorites as well, like Tiki Tiki Tembo, books that I don't hear a lot about today, but boy, they were my favorites growing up and really inspired a love of books. So that's what you're going to find in that PDF guide. I'll have a link in the description below if you'd like to download it for free. And again, don't forget about the RC course for littles. If you purchase it now, you're a founding member, you get email support, you get live Q&As each month, and no matter how many updates to the program, you get it for free. I'll leave a link below for that as well. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will answer them. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye.